Vuitton bag, right? Cut up newspaper, stack it, right? He put like, I think it was like 20 stacks, right? And on the top and the bottom is only $100 bill, but in the middle ain't nothing but paper. Got the shit stacked like bundles, put it in the bag, right? Got the broom, right? One of my Polish friends, right? She's in there, right? The game plan is 2 dudes that was down with us, you know what I'm saying? Run up in there, stick the joint up, you know what I mean? That's the whole thing, they gonna stick it up. This is an extortion that he's doing. The stick-up kids is up in there. They see the money, right, in the bag, you know what I'm saying? They stick the whole joint up. They don't stick the store up, they stick her up, but in the establishment. This is money now, right? That's the whole thing. How he owe money. That's what everybody want to know, how he owe money. Because she got robbed in your establishment.
There isn't much information on the early years of Preacher. He was born in 1953 and raised in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City. Preacher only attended school till the 4th grade. Preacher learned how to handle himself on the rough streets of his neighborhood. Preacher would be wrapped up in the streets, doing what people in the streets do, and he'd get a slew of convictions in the 1970s for possession of firearms, robberies, anything to do with it. He was nicknamed the Black Hand of Death for a reason, and he was basically a serial killer. Not basically, he was a serial killer. He had over 13 murders that he was just convicted of, just alone. In 1970s, he ended up getting convicted, like I said, for a slew of charges. So while he was in prison, he had like a master's in manipulation and persuasion. That's why they named him the Preacher. In 1983, Preacher was released back into the streets, and New York City was on fire. He was released at the perfect time because crack cocaine was exploding on the scene, tearing families apart and lining drug dealers' pockets. But Preacher wasn't as much of a drug dealer as he was as a sadistic person and an extortionist. See, Preacher loved to kill. Preacher loved to have power. Preacher loved to have control. That was the real Preacher. And that's who you had to look out for. Because you see him coming, he got something he likes, he's going for it. He's going to try to take it. And everybody knew that. That's why most people, they just tried to pay a little vig to him. But not everybody. One of the Preacher's crew's main enforcers was a guy named Malik, who was a certified psychopath.
Malik was the sergeant of the janitors of the Preacher crew.
He was in charge of a group of members who were known as the janitors. The janitors were the people that had to clean up
the fucked up shit. Like with dudes who was trying to earn their bones, or even dudes that already had bones that shot a motherfucker and he lived. The janitors come and clean that joint up. You know what I'm saying? And when they come clean that up, this dude ain't getting away.
And you couldn't be a janitor unless you killed somebody.
So he was valuable because every hit that he ever went after, he never missed. You know what I'm saying? He killed every victim that he ever had to go get. And he liked. A dude ended up sticking up a guy that was down with us, sticking up his spot. And so me and another individual.
And that individual is Malik.
Went on a hunt looking for him, you know what I'm saying? We found him that same night.
He was going to be abducted.
And it was crazy is he was letting out some people out of his car, you know what I'm saying? So we was like, yo, hold up, we gonna wait till he let him out, you know what I'm saying? He let him out, but two other guys were still in there with him, you know what I'm saying? So what happened was, I dipped down the block and cut the street off and blocked his car off, you know what I'm saying? So he couldn't go nowhere. Homeboy got out, you know what I'm saying? Walked up to him. The dude knew what time it was because he tried to back out the street, but he couldn't go nowhere. My man let off. The car hit the car. He tried to, after he shot a few times, the dude tried to run him over. The car ended up hitting up on 3 other cars, spent over and turned upside down. Homie walked up to the car, got up in the car, on his knees, and bust off. You know what I'm saying? Shot everybody in the car. When he came back, it was blood all splattered over the gun, all over his hand and his chest and all that because he was so close to the bodies and everything. So what I did was took my jacket off, gave it to him, you know what I'm saying? Took his jacket, you know what I mean? And we rolled down the highway, got rid of the jacket and all that, but we kept the gun.
The C-11 squad found a witness who told them the shooter was a Preacher crew member named Malik.
This dude Malik was really fucked up mentally, you know what I'm saying? As far as that killing shit, he loved that shit. You know what I'm saying? He loved doing that shit. And he didn't have no picks. Whoever, he was like a pit bull. My pops let the chain off his ass. He going after anybody. You know what I'm saying? That's how thirsty.
How did your father see Malik or even Apple? Or like, how did that play out?
As far as I knew, my pops called Apple a piece of shit. He called him that with the fact that him bringing the idea of kidnapping his own nephew. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he a worthless piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Now, let's talk about Rich Porter, Alpo, and AZ. Mind you, these kids were about 16 years old, living in Harlem, really getting some real money. And obviously, when you're in that world, dealing with someone like Preacher around, you really got to keep your head on a swivel at all times, because obviously a sadistic, crazy person like that, you got to be careful.
The most money I can really say I made, I was making like, I was getting joints for a dirt price, man. I don't think nobody on the street could compete with the prices I was getting. But, and I ain't even gonna say the numbers, you know. But I was making at least about, I could make at least about $40,000, $50,000 a week profit. You know what I mean? And that's not even hard, going hard. If a nigga went hard, it'd been crazy in that. But I was the type to lay back and even play like that. I mean, I let everybody eat. You know, I couldn't play hard, but you know, spread the love.
Highlight moments, basketball. You know, they might be shooting jump shots for a G. You know what I'm saying? That was like funny. Hey, you might have 150,000 in the trunk. They gambling. I know the guy shooting cheats on them, but they ain't know it. He didn't mind. You know what I'm saying? So he might lose 10,000, 20,000, but it was no thing. You know what I'm saying? He was that type of guy. He just liked to have fun, man. You know, and everybody around him, he wanted to have fun. He just had no problem showing love, man.
But you ready to go have fun now? You ain't really got time to talk. You might have $1,000 in your pocket. You just take the $1,000, throw it up in the air, keep it moving. You know, showing love. Go down the block, get your joint, jump in it, blow past them, nigga, hit them with the horn. Why? Everybody loves you. Whole hood loves you. Everybody eat, man. You making sure that everybody eat, you know?
Everybody ate better. A lot of people up and down 7th, up and down 8th. Trust me, man.
That was the game back then. It's ugly now. It ain't the same like that. Niggas crazy right now. You might skip past the rubber, your joint. You know, I wasn't the type to stop, be around the crowd, I keep it moving. It seemed like the zone that we had niggas in, when she went past the rucker, you parked and joined on 32nd, she used to be at, in the cut or whatever, played the stupid, seemed like the whole fucking game used to come to you. You know what I mean? It's ugly. I remember when I was in bed, 16 Vial, and pull up by Willie's Burgers. It seemed like the whole crowd that was out there was looking at us, like they was waiting for us, you know? Come. They were just staring at us, like, we looked at each other and said, oh, felt that? So Big pull off. He pull off slowly, you know what I mean? We pull off. He's like, yo, dog, man, this is crazy. You felt that? I said, did I see him going in? He said, me too. But the next day, we kept talking about that shit, like, yo, dog, we gotta chill. This shit is crazy, man. This shit is crazy.
Everybody's out, all the thugs, all the homie jacks, all the wolves, coke, the little glassine bags and shit. They'll put like, I guess, a nickel worth or $10 worth in a glassine bag. And we had these stamps from school. And just out of just playing and stamping shit, like, you know, back in the days in school, you do your work, you get excellent, very good. It was a stamp much better. He put the stamp on a glassine bag and called his shit much better and put it out there and killed them with the coke. Later on, when he started really killing them with, like, got more expanded with coke and, like, started being like a distributor, like hitting this nigga going to this block, whatever. I mean, this was back when I didn't know what now I know everybody carry beepers, but back then, I didn't even know what a beeper was. For him to tell a worker, yo, I'm gonna get you a beeper, and when you finish, I'll give you my beeper number. You know we do business like this, or cell phones that back then looked retarded. I mean, I could say look retarded now, because they're more advanced now.
On December 5th, 1989, Donnell Porter, the little brother of Richard Porter, was kidnapped and held for a ransom in a basement in the Bronx. The saddest part about all of this is the one who set up the kidnapping was Richard's uncle, Apple. He was a part of the Preacher crew, and it was actually said to have been molested by Preacher. Unfortunately for Donnell, Richard Porter wasn't able to pay the ransom because he was ended up being shot and killed by his best friend, who actually knew what was going on during the time. He knew his brother was kidnapped and still decided to rob, shoot, and kill him. Sad.
When my pops and kidnapped the kid, right? Alpo and Rich had some disagreement or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't actually know what happened with them, but it was like some disagreement. So it just happened like, it was just like, I guess it was fate basically, you know what I'm saying? Alpo ended up killing Rich Porter and all that, you know what I'm saying? Before the brother got killed. So by the time that happened, it was definitely no money. You know what I'm saying? My pops knew that there wasn't no money. And I believe that was one of the reasons why he said, let the kid go. Apple told my father nah, because he seen our face and everything. You know what I'm saying? And he was scared about this and that. And my father didn't agree on them killing the dude. You know what I'm saying? The little kid. That's why to this day, my father, you know what I'm saying, got so much time. You know what I mean? He got that life plus like 225 years. You know what I'm saying? Because he told the federal government shit, but he said that he didn't agree to that, which he really didn't. You know what I'm saying? That was Malik.
And if you're wondering what happened to Malik, don't feel bad at all. He definitely got what he deserved. Malik was brought down to a basement where Preacher's Lieutenant John Cuff shot Malik in the back of the head. Preacher and Cuff then had the rest of the crew at the killing house on 27 Concourse Avenue dismember Malik's body and take off the tattoo that linked him to the crew with an electrical saw. It was said in the next few weeks after the murder of Malik, they would play soccer with Malik's head. So in my humble opinion, justice was served. Rest in peace, Donnell. Here's the police report of William Porter. The body of a William Porter of 155 West 132nd Street in Manhattan was found on a bicycle path near the Parkway City Island exit by a homeless man looking for cans. Lieutenant Raymond O'Donnell, a police spokesman, said it was less than a mile away from where the body of his brother Richard Porter was found. The police said Richard was a crack dealer who the kidnappers wanted to pay the ransom. Richard was found shot to death on January 4th. The police said William's body was inside 14 black plastic bags stuffed within one another. His clothes were a white shirt, blue pants, and white sneakers. The body was badly decomposed but was not cut up or dismembered. Donnell Williams was kidnapped on the morning of December 5th as he walked the 4 blocks to school. For 48 hours, the kidnappers tried to get a ransom of $500,000. And then, the day after, the kidnappers called and told his brother Richard to go to McDonald's. When Richard got there, he found a cup with his little brother's index finger and a minute-long tape recording of Donnell begging for his life, saying, "Mommy, Mommy, they cut off my finger. Get the money, please," which is disgusting. "Please help me. I love you, Mommy." On January 4th, William's brother Richard was found shot to death, and he was found at Orchard Beach Park, which is less than a mile away from where Williams was found. Which, it's so sad. Literally, he was trying to get the money for his little brother, and before he could even do that, he had another snake take him out. He had snakes come and kidnap his little brother, and then he had snakes come in to take him out. Rest in peace to Richard Porter. Rest in peace to Donnell. I would say rest in peace Alpo, but nobody feels bad that Alpo passed away. I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of glad.
DC, he started getting extremely a lot of money.
When I saw Alpo's turning point is when Rich died.
I was on my way to Otisville Penitentiary, upstate New York, to see someone. And Alberto had already told me prior to that you know somebody kidnapped Richard's brother and they want money and they stuck his finger in the recording and left it, all that. So it's like a van to take you up to the prisons of New York. They got the transportation service to take you. So I'm waiting with this girl from DC. I went with her. We waiting for the transportation van. I see the paper with Richard's brother on the front page. So I pick it up so I can buy it and read it because, Alberto already told me that the little boy was kidnapped. So I'm reading, and they found Richard. So right then and there, that was my friend too. I got emotional, because he told me Richard's brother, but Richard wasn't dead at this point. So I'm reading the paper, and that's a hell of a way to find out.
And she called me and told me that she had saw it in the paper about Richard and his brother had gotten killed. And I was like, well, and I was scared and I was shocked, and I, scared because she was up there in New York where all these things was happening, And so, you know, I think I told her to come on home or something. So Alberta happened to call me right after I talked to Karen, and I told him that I had just talked to her and what she had saw in the paper about Richard, you know. And he was like, whoa, when? And I said, I just talked to her. And she was saying that she had the paper. He said, oh my God. He said, call Karen and tell her to come home. Get from up there down. She don't need to be up there. Too much crazy stuff going on. So I was like, okay. He said, damn. He said, you sure? And I was like, sure, I'm sure. She just called me and told me. He said, oh my God. He said, well, tell her, call her back and tell her I said to come on home. Get from up there now.
And she said, I told Alberto what you told me. So she was like, and he left this number. He said, call soon as you get, back to this lady's house, call. So I called and he was like, bring the paper that you saw that in. It was like he didn't know, so I'm like, hold up. And he was like, you don't need to be up there. Stay right there. I'm going to call number 10. I'm like, who the hell is number 10? I'm going to call number 10 or something to come and get you to bring y'all home. You don't need to be up there right now. So I get to my mother's and he meet me there. He read the paper. He had me fooled. He reading it and dropped his head like he upset, and I'm like, just watching like, I'm getting all teary-eyed and stuff like, damn, they killed Richard. I can't believe this.
He went through the whole 9 yards, like, he ain't know nothing about it and all.
He was like, he lost his best friend.
Ow. Did I kill Rich? Yes. Why did I kill Rich? It wasn't personal. It was business.
How could you kill something you love, man? That's real confusing to me, man. How could you kill something that love you?
Like I said to you before about the coke, Rich was lying to me about something that I felt he had no reason to lie to me about. And in my mind, it told me that if he could let this little bit of money come between what I thought was a beautiful relationship, friendship, then no telling what he would sell me down the line for.
On a cold night in December, an obviously intoxicated Bobby Brown would be lured into one of Preacher's many apartments by what was said to be the most beautiful girl in Harlem at the time. He would then be held for a ransom in which the late Whitney Houston was said to have brought a duffel bag containing $400,000 to ensure his freedom.
War stories, this shit, that shit. Dude from Jersey was like, yo, when we see this motherfucker Bobby Brown, we gonna kill him. So a man was like, yo, why you gonna do that? He said, because he borrowed a kid coke from us about 3 months ago, and he's ducking us. Now him and Whitney, Bobby and Whitney had a house in Jersey. But meanwhile, we live in the city. And you remember that motherfucking club, the New Yorker, where Puffy and J-Lo had that shootout with Shine and all that shit?
Yeah.
This nigga in the club every night. So we know where the fuck he at.
Yeah.
So my man says, yo, how much he owes you? Dude's like $25,000. He said, I'll tell you what, let me buy that beat from you. I'm gonna give you $10,000 right now. It's no longer your problem, it's my problem. You ain't got nothing to do with down there. This nigga was all on her. And so she was like, yo, I can't hear you. Let's go outside. We had a van outside up the street. And she walked the nigga right to the van. It was really, really easy. This nigga, he walked right.
He walked straight into it.
And we opened up the door, grabbed that motherfucker, pulled him in. Now here's the funny shit. They brought him back to the Bronx.
Yeah.
Brought him into the building and had him in one of the apartments. Again, Preacher, he took everything he wanted. You know what I'm saying? If you was a drug dealer and you came down with that 560 Benz and all this and all that, he took it from you. If he wanted. Who the fuck you gonna tell?
Right. You can't do that.
You know what I'm saying? This apartment, every time the apartment got empty, he took that apartment from the owner of the building. So he had about 4 or 5 apartments. Just about everybody was getting apartments in there. And they took Bobby into one of the apartments, and Malik stripped him, butt naked, and hogtied him. Was a weird dude from Virginia. He was he had a military background. You know what I'm saying? And He was like, who the fuck? They was like, this is Bobby Brown. This is the singer. He's like, yo, sing the fucking song. You know, this nigga hard-tied, butt naked. He's like, sing the song. This nigga, I don't want to sing. He said, no, sing the fucking song. This nigga, like, he kicked him on the floor, grabbed this nigga by his dick, and started burning the hair on his nuts.
Oh shit.
This the guy. and so, but you know, when they had him for a couple of days, and eventually they got on the phone and talked to Whitney and told her, you know, this shit is serious. You know, don't go calling nobody and all this. You come here and get this. She had just made the movie The Bodyguard, and she came to the fucking Bronx by herself in a cab with a big ass pair of glasses and a wig, with $400,000 in the bag to come get that motherfucker.
The next person in Preacher's crew who was also indicted with him was a man named John Cuff. Cuff was in tip-top shape and was said to walk around with a trench coat at all times, concealing a sawed-off shotgun. Cuff didn't need the shotgun though. He was nice with his hands. And around the way, they said he was one of the best. Out of all the people in the documentary, John Cuff doesn't really have much about him. But that's because John Cuff never made a statement. He never cooperated with police, and he took his time like a man. And it's said he even had a police badge to take care of his friends. In case they pulled up on him, he'd just be like, hey, I'm a cop. And 99% of the time, they're letting him go. So he definitely kept it solid for the most part.
The Preacher's main lieutenant was a man named John Cuff.
Cuff is the leader of this whole shit, right? So he know what to say and everything. Cuff got some motherfucking, before we get there, he gets some cards from the funeral home, right? Got the cards, stacking them shits, right? Boom, we go down there, right? And we ain't got the broad with us. We go down there, the motherfucker that's running the joint. The whole game is, Cuff tell him, yo, where the owner at, man? Tell him he need to call me, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers robbed my girl in your store and everything, you know what I'm saying? And if he don't call me at a such and such time, y'all need to call this number and do the stack of funeral cards on top of the counter.
John Cuff was an ex-New York City housing cop. As a cop, he provided protection and bodyguard work for Preacher. So if they were driving through the neighborhood and was stopped, John Cuff had a shield where he would probably be let go and not given a summons or anything further would happen.
My father's the boss of the whole organization, the whole Preacher crew. Cuff was a lieutenant the whole time.
I made sure to save the best for last. This last one is one that's going to pull on your heartstrings. It sort of reminded me of the recent Queso trial, in which Queso's father bred and molded his son into a life of crime comprised of murders, selling drugs, and everything else that comes with the game. This chapter is going to be called Shaka Story, because I watched The Preacher's Son, and of course, I just didn't think it fit. I believe a better name is Shaka Story, and it's an ugly story, but it's a story of redemption too. I will never agree with cooperating, but I can try to understand what this man was going through. Your father is one of the most well-respected monsters in the city, so what you try to do, you try to emulate everything your father's doing and make him proud of you. But when everything comes to an end, I'm sure Shaka probably looked and thought back to himself like, this is bullshit. The game has got me nothing but pain and sorrow. But enough of what I gotta say. Let's get back into it.
Killed, and how many people did you cop out to as far as murders?
I copped out to 14 murders, and I have 8 that I killed. That's what I copped out to, right? But I was charged with 22.
What is the mindset of a killer in the midst of what you was doing? What was your mindset? Like, I know you said you was bloodthirsty. Like, give me that for you, your father, Malik. Like, tell me y'all mindset and how far out it was.
Okay, as far as me and the state of mind that I was living in with that, it was like, your life meant nothing to me. To be honest with you, you do fuck around and zone out and forget who you really are. I think after the first time is easier each and every time after that. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, the first time was nothing. You know what I'm saying? And the second time was nothing. You know what I mean? I could say maybe 90% of us had that same mindset. We all had the same thinking process of, fuck the next individual. If he ain't with us, he against us. You know what I'm saying? And also, my father used to always say that to us. You know what I'm saying? You forget that. I forgot that Shock wasn't born this way. You know what I'm saying? I was created this way. You know what I mean? With the help of my father and also the people I was running with that was down with us. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't created to be a killer. You know what I mean? That's why, in the sense that a lot of people...
And that's what I'm talking about when I say I can try to understand what this man is going through. And it really reminds me of the case of trial. A father is supposed to teach you how to be a better man than he is. You can tell Shaka wasn't born a killer. He was made into one. He is low-key a victim of his own circumstances. A victim of his environment, a victim of his own father. And to be honest, like I said, this is just a sad story if I'm keeping it real. Yes, he cooperated and everything, but, I mean, I don't know.
That's going to watch this DVD will be shot. You know what I'm saying? And those that were shocked as my case was going on was fucked up because I'm a different person. What is it? Cuff is in another cell over, but he's dead. My father is dead. My other co-defendant, Echoes, Green Eyes, Apple, and my sister is in there, right? My sister and the other female is down. It's like down the bullpen. They there, but they're in another section. But we all in the same hall. We can all yell and talk to each other, right? So we going all up to see the judge. You know what I'm saying? This is a preliminary hearing. We going to see the judge, right? So as we come out, I hug my sister, but when I hug her, she whispered in my ear, "You know, Daddy telling all this." So I'm like, "What?" And the police tell me, "Yo, you can't be touching us." I was like, "Yo, this is my sister," like that. So my sister is not talking to him. She ain't saying shit to him. You know what I mean?
Just imagine, you're going to court, you're fighting mad bodies, and all of a sudden you find out your sister tells you that your father's telling on you. Why you're fighting a body for him, basically.
So I'm fucked up, because now I believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is my sister, you know what I'm saying? She's in there, you know what I mean? And basically, she ain't really do nothing, you know what I'm saying? But they got her there, you know what I mean? So when I came back in the bullpen, I asked my pops, I said, "Yo, man," I said, why you telling on us? You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, "Well, never mind me, why you telling my sister?" I said, because for me, I accept my fate with what I done, you know what I'm saying? But my sister basically was innocent, you know what I'm saying? So I said, "Why you telling her?" He said, "Yo, I was trying to," then that's when Cuff said, "Hold on, Shot, your pops was trying to do something," you know what I'm saying? Something like, I basically saved himself, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't work, you know what I mean? The federal government didn't want to hear that with him.
What was the biggest betrayal that you felt that day in the bullpen?
The biggest betrayal was my father realizing that he actually really told on us, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about nobody else. My thing was me and my sister, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't understand that, and to this day I still can't, you know what I mean? And fucks me up behind that, you know what I'm saying? Imagine it was your father, you know what I'm saying? Not your brother, homeboy, none of that shit, but your pops, you know what I mean? Somebody that you love dearly, man, you know what I'm saying? And he ended up telling on you know what I mean? And it's crazy because all of us that was in the bullpen, me, Cub, Pop, Green Eyes, you know what I'm saying? My sister, Janine, you know what I mean? We was so brainwashed into following him to hell, you know what I'm saying, that he didn't even have to do that, you know what I'm saying? He could have probably got to the point where he could have just made one of us take everything. We'd all did that, you know what I'm saying? He had us to the point where we'd have died for him, you know what I mean? Where we didn't kill for him, you know what I'm saying? We definitely would have died for him, you know what I'm saying? And we would have did that, but he didn't do that. He told, you know what I'm saying? But he told on not just the other dudes, but he told on his kids, you know what I mean? And to this day, I really don't understand this, you know what I'm saying? I really can't swallow this, you know what I mean? And it hurts me, but I don't hate him. I still don't hate him, man. You know what I'm saying? I still love my pops, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I still love him, man, to the death, man. I still love him.
Well, as we come to the end of the documentary, Preacher was sentenced to life plus 20 years for 13 murders, including Donnell Porter. The thing that resonated with me the most is when Shaka said, the game doesn't have any rules. That's the truth. The game doesn't have any referees. The game doesn't have any sidelines. You're either ready to lay somebody down or become a victim. Because once the sharks smell blood, they feast. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If there's any other people you want me to cover, leave it in the comments. This is the first serial killer in Harlem, most prolific, extortionist. Stay blessed and stay free.